Republican senators, meantime, have approved budget framework after nearly 10 hours of voting on it. Despite Democratic opposition, the Senate passed its $340 billion budget resolution. This is the first step in enacting several components of the president's agenda. I want to bring in Rachael Bade for more on this. Rachael, first, what's in this resolution, and then what are Democratic lawmakers saying about it?
Yeah, so this is basically the first step in congressional Republicans moving to pass Donald Trump's agenda. It's a framework that lays out increased money for the border to crack down on illegal immigration and also help with deportations, and also more money for the Pentagon, which is something that Republicans want to see passed very quickly. But the thing to know about this is that it is just a framework. These are not, this is not a law that is going to be signed by the president at this time. However, Democrats get an opportunity as part of this process to basically put Republicans on the record with a bunch of amendments to this budget blueprint. Basically, they get a chance to force Republicans to take votes that they don't really want to take, and they try to use them on the campaign trail against the majority. So we saw Democrats last night use the opportunity to try to get Republicans on record voting to support increasing tax cuts for billionaires. That was one of their resolutions or their amendments, saying, look, we're going to not give tax cuts to people who make over $1 billion. We're not going to give tax cuts to wealthy individuals if Medicaid is cut for low-income individuals as well. And Republicans widely voted against those to protect this budget. But you can bet Democrats are going to use that on the campaign trail against them, even though, as I said, this is just an exercise in process. It's not going to be law.
Yeah, there'll be an onslaught of midterm campaign ads, I'm sure. House Speaker Johnson has said the Senate's package is a non-starter. Is there any indication on what the White House could do with this budget framework? What are the sticking points, really?
You know, the big sticking point between the House and the Senate is obviously whether or not they include tax cuts and tax reform in this package. The House wants to do one big, beautiful bill, as Donald Trump is calling it, where they look at the border, they look at defense spending, but they also address tax cuts that are going to be expiring at some point this year. The Senate wants to do it in two bites. They want to do this sort of narrow bill that looks at the border and defense, but then tackle tax later in the year. The House argument is that they have such a slim margin that they can't probably pass two big GOP bills, and so that's why they want to lump them all together. So the thing to know about this is that Donald Trump has endorsed the House plan to do one big, beautiful bill, but he really is sort of indifferent about the specifics here. He just wants to make sure he gets these legislative wins. And the thing that I think is interesting about him allowing the Senate Republicans and the House Republicans to fight is that it's very Donald Trump, right? He's the former host of The Apprentice. He likes to see his advisors sort of duke it out, and the strongest one is going to win. And that's sort of what the White House is doing right now. They are giving the wink and the nod to the House, but they're saying it's okay if the Senate moves forward with their plan. We'll see which one works.
And Rachael, just finally, the longest-serving Senate party leader, Mitch McConnell, we saw yesterday not seeking re-election. What does it mean for the future of the Republican Party, if anything?
You know, it's really sort of an end to an era right now. I mean, Mitch McConnell is and has been sort of this Reaganite Republican, this fiscal defense hawk who led Republicans in the traditional Republican GOP way that we've known for decades. But right now, the party is changing. And that's one of the reasons why Mitch McConnell decided to first step down from leadership and then to eventually retire. Basically, the MAGA force is taking over. And as he announces his retirement, for example, we are seeing Doge and Donald Trump, Elon Musk, cutting spending that Congress approved. Mitch McConnell himself is somebody who was an appropriator. He actually wrote a lot of spending bills over the years, somebody who would defend Congress's right to pick what the spending numbers are and to keep the power of the purse. That's not happening anymore. Donald Trump is sort of taking it over. At the same time, Donald Trump is just sort of bulldozing the defense hawks right now when it comes to Ukraine, backing Russia's positions over, supporting Ukraine, which has been GOP orthodoxy. And that has been something Mitch McConnell has been very passionate about over the years. So it's interesting to see him sort of announcing his retirement. It's just this reminder of how much the party is changing right now under Donald Trump.
Yeah, the complete end of an era. You put it well. No space for that kind of politic in President Trump's Republican Party. We've seen that very clearly. All right, Rachael Bade, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Of course.